Due to the corruption of the financial system, individuals have found themselves deeper in debt, unable to smoothly save their income and live a good, relaxed lifestyle. Instead, many people, especially youth, have been struggling to make ends meet, living with their parents, carrying massive amounts of debt, either unemployed or taking on 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. This is a global phenomenon. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we're going to look at a host of issues, beginning with this. We're looking at the millennials in particular. Almost 1/4 of the generation of young adults born between 1981 and 2000 are working temporary or contract jobs, nearly double the rate for the entire job market. Now, this is no different than what we have seen in areas like Europe, for example. I brought this up to you in previous videos when we looked at the statistics for Greece and for Spain and for others. Almost 1/3 are not working in their field of education, and this is something that I take to heart because you see so many people struggling for years, burning themselves out. They get all of these degrees, spend money, they get into debt, and they really hurt themselves, in fact, in order to get these degrees, and they end up working jobs that have nothing to do with what they were educated on, and quite frankly, the pay is a fraction of what they intended on getting paid in the first place. So then they have to continue to live with their parents. They are there for an extended period of time, and ultimately things aren't going the way that they hoped. 21% are working more than one job, and close to half are looking for a new job. And so these are all important, and I think once again that this happens to be about Canada, but it's all over the world. These numbers come from a Globe and Mail online survey of millennials that attracted 2,600 responses, so it goes on. I read through the article, and I think that it is important. There's, of course, bias, but that's with any article. I just wanted to note a few points from here, and it's no different than what I've said before. What we have is a problem that, number one, individuals are being put into this education system, and they are desperate to get further and further along in it, only consuming more and more debt along the way. And you could see in the US, the student debt bubble is over $1 trillion. You'll see that is obviously not going to go down anytime soon. It has been increasing significantly year after year after year. Then these people, they come out of school, they are unable to pay off their debt. So the debt compounds and gets worse. These individuals are also having a problem because of this issue. I'll move on to that further along in the article. Part of the explanation is our aging population. There's a little bit of a bottleneck with baby boomers still in the labor market, and the millennial generation is one that is really suffering from this. So think about that for a second, where you have individuals, the baby boomers, who are working later and later and later. So they are occupying the jobs that a new person would have been joining the workforce. They're getting in. Of course, that doesn't explain everything, but that's part of it. This is causing a big disruption in what should be a normal occurrence. People move out of the job market and people move into the job market. And this is not going to go very well, I assure you. There is more in the article here. I would like to just move on and switch gears. But before I do, just wanted to essentially suggest the fact that things are changing in the job market. You'll look around and you'll see that the jobs that were present decades ago are not the same as they are today. When a few decades ago, a high school diploma would have been something of significance. Now, an individual who gets their BA gets a 4-year degree or what have you. It's essentially the same thing. So it's being diluted, no different than what we have seen with the Federal Reserve diluting the value of the dollar. You can see that what has happened with the education system has really, truly diluted the value of that education. That's my opinion on it anyway. So this right here is an excellent infographic. Erica Quinn sent me this from investmentzen.com. I suggest everyone take a look at it. I won't have time to scroll through the whole thing, but essentially what we have is the 10 worst cases of corporate greed in US history. And this is just 10 of them. There's a lot more than that. We know that for sure. So you can check out investmentzen.com if you're interested. I actually posted this on my Steemit as well. But let's just quickly look at a couple points from that. Cendant Corporation, 1998, $14 billion of accounting fraud. Restitution, $32 million. Settlement to shareholders. And this is what we see every time. I don't know about this particular instance, but what about Wachovia Wells Fargo, where they were caught laundering something along the lines of $380 billion, and then they get a little slap in the wrist fine at the end of it. They are going to make a killing, even when they get caught. It's just a slap on the wrist. And so this infographic has many more. If you want to scroll through that, please check it out. I'm going to move on here. More than 28,000 species of plants around the world have a medical use, but poor documentation means people are not making the most of the health benefits. What do we have here? Well, all of these plants are beneficial in some way. They have a way to, let's say, help people heal from their conditions. Okay, we're not allowed to say certain 4-letter words that start with C on YouTube. Not allowed to say that, but let's just say for the time being, these plants are beneficial. But then there is no money in finding out their benefits. Therefore, they're unsure. They just know they have medical uses. So they stop right there pretty much. Where is all the money going? Well, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that the money is in the pharmaceutical industry. Look at what has happened with biotech. To be a farmer previously, it was never a glamorous job. It wasn't a money-making job. It was just a job that individuals did, probably passed down from generation to generation. Then you look at it today, and these biotech companies patenting seeds and creating all of the pesticides and everything else, they're making a killing. But we're talking about food. We're talking about something that you consume every day, and now it's become a multi-billion-dollar industry. So look at where the money's going. Russian website broadcasts live pictures of Cape Breton school children. So the only reason I'm mentioning this here was that our data is not safe, our information is not safe, and we cannot trust them. So when we put our information out there in any way, shape, or form, we need to understand the reality is that someone else is probably watching, not just the NSA, but others as well. Why did a Chinese peroxide company pay $1 billion for a talking cat? Many of you may recognize this individual cat, and that is Talking Tom, a little game for the iPhones and iPads and all this stuff. And it's now worth $1 billion. Of course, it's not just Talking Tom, but the company, essentially, behind it, bought out for $1 billion. Can you believe it? And the reason I'm mentioning this is that you could suggest there's $1 billion worth of value in this, and the company and the advertising that goes along with it and everything else. Maybe it's worth $1 billion. But I can't help but feel that we are in the .com bubble 2.0. The valuations are ridiculous. I mean, $1 billion. $1 billion. I'll leave that up to you to decide, but to me, it sounds like insanity to me. All right, now, when I read this type of stuff, I shake my head, I get angry, advising women not to drink when pregnant is, quote, sexist and causes needless anxiety, according to senior academics. So now, if you drink while you're pregnant, if you tell women who are pregnant that they can't drink alcohol, that's sexist. I mean, what is happening to this world? Everything is upside down. It even says you can have moderate drinking and the occasional binge drinking, and that's okay. That there is no evidence to support the fact that this would harm your baby. I mean, are you kidding me? Are we going backwards in time? I can't even believe this is a legitimate article. These are supposed academics. And I just read something like this. Anyway, I had to bring that to you. I don't even have words to talk about it. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Look, if you want to do that, by all means, go ahead, do it. But don't suggest that this type of behavior is like binge drinking while you're pregnant is okay. I mean, what's next? Anyway, that's more of an opinionated thing. I don't like to get into this. I'd like to know your opinion on this as well. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. If you found this video informative, I know you will find my books, The Money GPS and Global Economic Collapse, my new release, even more informative. So, if you want to look through the books, just go over to Amazon. The first book is about the 4 asset classes, how to profit from them. It gets into a lot of that detail, whereas the new book gets into the familiar subjects, but then I also get into the money GPS strategy that's reducing your monthly expenses, becoming self-sufficient, all sorts of things like that. There's also the audiobook, which is available, of Global Economic Collapse. That's on my website, themoneyGPS.com. You can check that out there as well. And individuals have asked me, many people have said, get on Steemit. So I am on Steemit. I've been on there actually since last year, but I never really did anything with it. And now I'm going to try, at this point anyway, to try to regularly post on there. At the very least, just post these YouTube videos on the Steemit account. So if you want to follow me on Steemit, if you want to support me on Steemit, I'm there. The link is in the description of this video. Take care.